Hey friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I am so excited that you decided to take time out of your day to spend with me because today we are doing my December wrap up, okay? And so December was a fun month of reading for me. I feel like I fell down the rabbit hole of holiday romances and I literally had to make myself stop because there was other stuff that I wanted to pick up, but I could have read holiday romances the entire month and been okay with that. It feels like I swapped holiday movies for holiday books because I would usually run through all of the Netflix movies, but I didn't do that this year. I was running through all of the holiday books, which, I had a good time. So let us go ahead and get into some of the stats first, and then we'll get into talking about the books that I read. For the month of December, I read a total of 13 books, and that totaled to 3,717 pages, and my average rating for the month was a 3.54. So not too bad, but also not too great either, and you'll see why in a minute. So I didn't really have any hard full stop DNFs for the month of December, but I did soft DNF one book, and that book is Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth. I just felt like the overall tone of this was very melancholic, and it also dealt with death, and it was just too soon for me. My mental health was not in a space to be reading a sad book about death, even though it did have a superhero spin to it. I do plan on picking it up later because I was enjoying, the story and the writing and all of that jazz. So yeah, when I am not fresh in grief myself, I will pick this back up. Next up, let's start with the lowest rated book that I finished this month, and that is All I Want Is You by Falon Ballard, and I did not like this. I didn't. So basically, the gist of this is that there are two writers who are exes, and they end up getting snowed in at this hotel and start discussing, what was the downfall of their relationship, and they start working together on a project essentially. And so, yeah, they have this chemistry still, and things happen. It's a second chance romance, and I did like the couple. I felt like their chemistry was, natural and all of that. But what I did not like was how what is his name? Nick and Jess from New Girl. Yeah, that was their name. That was their names. The reason that Nick broke up with Jess to begin with was very selfish, and it just felt like a non-reason. It felt like he wanted to be single, and that's why he broke up with her. And he also didn't get her a chance to choose what she wanted for herself, and I just didn't like that gave me the immediate ick. And I also didn't enjoy how Jess didn't give him any flack or anything at all for this decision that he made. She just was like, oh, I get it. No, I don't get it. No, what do you mean you get it? Absolutely not. The bar's in hell. So that was very disappointing. 2 stars, and I just decided that, second chances probably aren't for me, and I'm probably going to leave them alone. Yeah. Next up, we have a 2.5 star, and that is Mary Inkmas by Talia Hibbert. And I don't feel like anything was necessarily wrong with this one. I just didn't like it. As emotional as it was and as heartfelt as it was, I just didn't connect with the characters. I didn't really care for them together as a couple. I didn't like the storyline either. I just don't know. This one just didn't work for me overall. And I have read and loved Talia Hibbert before, so I just think this particular story wasn't for me because I don't think the writing was bad at all. Like I said, I just think the whole thing was just no for me. Next up, we have our 3 stars, and the first one that I want to talk about is The Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore, and this is the 3rd book in the Dream Harbor series, and it starts with the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. And in this one, we are following, is her name Kira? I honestly don't remember her name, but she buys a Christmas tree farm, and the main character from the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, her brother is in town for Christmas, and so he decides to help. What is her name? I think his name was Bennett, but I don't Kira. I was right. Okay. So, yeah, Bennett decides he's going to help Kira get the Christmas tree shop, the Christmas tree farm up and running, and they are both fighting their attraction to each other. And yeah, that was basically all the plot, other than Bennett liking Kira and trying to figure out if he's gonna move to Dream Harbor or not. Which, I mean, it's a romance, so you know he's gonna move. Yeah, and this one didn't even have like a mystery subplot. There was something that tried to be that, but like it was only mentioned two or three times throughout the book, and it felt like an afterthought. And so, yeah, this one is not, you're not in this one for the plot. You're not. But I will say that it delivered on the atmosphere, on the vibes, the Christmas tree farm, the Christmassy, what was it, a Christmas tree lighting festival, and also like they were snowed in, and that was cute. So yeah, I this one was just okay. Um yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. And then I read Frenemies to Lovers by Cynthia Williams, and this was a novella where we were following. Maybe I should start writing characters' names down, because by the end of the month, I just don't have them anymore. I don't have them. I think the man's name was Andre, but what was her name? I was right. I need to stop second guessing myself. I said Tamira and Andre. I was right. Okay. So Tamira is a city planner for Peachtree Cove, and they're working on this project. And I think he's a contractor. The contractor on the project is going to be Andre, who was Tamara's friend in high school, but he just stopped talking to her one day, and Tamara doesn't really know why. So they're frenemies. And so once they meet again, there is this attraction there, and eventually Andre tells Tamara why he stopped talking to her. And it was a legit reason, because when he was a teenager, his parents were having issues, and he was kind of stuck in the middle of it, and his daddy like walked out on them. He didn't really know how to process that, and a specific event happened, and Tamara kind of saw that event. He didn't know what to say to her about it, and so that's why he stopped talking to her altogether, because he was embarrassed. And it was an actual reason, unlike Nick and All I Want Is You. So they kind of rekindle this relationship, and they are, having to keep it professional. And it's kind of causing a stir throughout the town, because they think that Tamira is showing favoritism to Andre for that project because they're together. So just navigating that. I feel like this one ended very abruptly. Like, I was shocked when I clicked and saw that it was the end of the book. I was like not even like cliffhangery type, but it just left us hanging. We didn't even get to like see them be together. It was just like, we're gonna try to do this, and I like you, we're gonna try to do this, and that was the end. But I did really like Tamira and Andre's chemistry. I liked the writing in this. I thought it was cute. I do plan to read more in this Peachtree Cove series. I just feel like this fell short because it was too short. So yeah, 3 stars for this. Moving on to our 3.5 stars. The first one I want to talk about is The Holidates, and that is by Brittainy Cherry. This was way more emotional than I was expecting it to be, and I thought that it was incredibly sweet and incredibly heartbreaking at the same time. We follow Holly, who's having trouble in the dating realm. She's just running into crappy guy after crappy guy, and she always brings them to this same restaurant because she just feels comfortable there. It's close to her house, and the owner of the restaurant is Kai. And Kai and Holly have this literal run in with each other. So they're off to like a bad start and don't really like each other. But Kai is sick of Holly bringing these dates into his restaurant. He decides that he's going to be Holly's dating coach and, get it together to where she can find somebody and not have to keep bringing in these first dates to his restaurant. But then they end up in a fake dating situation because Holly needs to bring someone home for Christmas because the year before she was left at the altar by her fiance on their at their Christmas wedding. Yeah, and there's a deeper layer to that I'm not going to tell you because you need to be shocked just like I was. And it was so awful. You just feel so bad for Holly. And so, yeah, she doesn't want to show up to her small town for Christmas alone because people are just going to think she's sad and lonely. And Kai agrees to be her boyfriend for Christmas. But, once you start fake dating, it's going to lead into real dating. And so, yeah, this for me, Kai's younger brother was a big character in this. He's a teenager, but I felt like his role in this was not very teenagery. He was often like the voice of reason for Kai, and I just felt like, why does a teenager need to tell you as an adult like how to get your shit together? Like you know this. So why is he having to be the one to do that? I just didn't enjoy that part. And also the miscommunication was so strong in this. Like understandably so because of the things that have happened to Kai. His backstory is pretty rough too. Like what the heck? I can't even imagine. So between, his past and Holly's past, it's just very hard for them to trust, and they're trying so hard to, be together and work through their issues. But, when you have very tumultuous things to happen to you as these two have, it's just gonna take some work. And I felt for them, man. I felt so bad for Holly and Kai. And I was just so happy that at the end they ended up finding a person who, was going to do right by them because, everybody deserves that, but especially after everything that they had been through. So yeah, this was cool. It was a 3.5 star for me. Next is Most Wonderful by Georgia Clark. Okay, so we're following 3 siblings, Liz, Birdie, and Rafi, and they are all showing up to their mother's place in Catskills for Christmas, and each of them are having struggles with their romantic relationship. Liz is in love with the star of her show, so she doesn't think that, they can have a relationship because she wants to keep things professional. Birdie is a very fly-by-the-night type of person, a comedian, doesn't take life seriously, but she runs into somebody who makes her want to take life serious. So she is, trying to grapple with that. Rafi works with his girlfriend and decided to propose to her at their work holiday Christmas party. Really, Erin. At their holiday party, and she turns him down in front of everyone that they work with, and so he runs away embarrassed. But then there's somebody else that he realizes that he has feelings for, but doesn't want to necessarily change the nature of their relationship and doesn't know if they feel the same way. And also there's something going on with their mother that they are trying to they don't realize that something's wrong until they get there, and so that unfurls as well. And I thought that this was done really well for Georgia Clark to give us 3 individual love stories within this book, and for it to feel natural and not feel like one person didn't get their time, and to be able to tell not only the 3 siblings apart but their love interests as well. I think this was a great feat, and Georgia Clark did really well, and I loved that this was a queer Christmas story as well. So yeah, this was great. I had fun time reading it. I do think it was really long. It was very long, but I understand that for us to get these stories as fleshed out as they were, it was going to have to be longer than the standard Christmas romance. So I just didn't really have strong connections to the characters, and I think that's why this ended up being a 3.5 star. I read Out of Office by A.H. Cunningham, and this I'm pretty sure was a novella. So we follow Genevieve, who is a workaholic, and she works in the hospitality industry, and her company just launched this hotel in Panama, so that's where she's been staying. And while she's there, the company kind of hired a driver for her, and that driver is Adrian. And so the project is over, and Genevieve decides that she wants to take a vacation. She is worn out, and she knows that when she gets back to her life in Florida, she is going to have to lock in because she's trying to get a promotion. So she takes this time and she decides that she is going to stay in Panama for 2 weeks. And her and Adrian had this, like, attraction to each other, but they wanted to keep it professional. And Adrian decides to shoot his shot once he realizes that Genevieve is done with the job in Panama, but she's planning on staying there in his hometown for a vacation. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to take my shot. And they fall in love, but they live in two different countries. So they are going to have to, figure that out. And Adrian is grieving the recent loss of his parents, as well as being a recovering workaholic himself. And so, they're just trying to work through that and figure out how they're going to be together. Now, I really like Adrian as a love interest. Yeah, he did it for me. And I really liked how the culture in Panama was really talked about, and gentrification, and how these people bring in tourist attractions thinking that they're going to, boost the economy, but it only drives the people who live there out of the area, and the jobs aren't really helping them because the people aren't hiring them, and all of the things that come with that. And talking about how there are ways to do that won't displace the people who live there, and just, all kinds of culture in general. I really loved that. This was very much insta love for me, and I just, they moved fast, and I understand that some people move fast, and that's just how it happens, but I am not one of those people, and I just, my brain can't comprehend it. So I'm always a little like, yeah, y'all want to think about that a little more before you make this big decision. But it didn't fully take away from the story for me. This was a 3.5. I then read Go Deep by Rilzy Adams. Y'all know Rilzy Adams is my girl. When I need a good novella, I will always turn to Rilzy Adams because she just knows what to do. Okay, she knows what to do. This wasn't my favorite one that I've ever read from her, but it was still good. I still had a good time. I think I knew going in that this wasn't going to be top favorite for me, just because it's a trope that I don't really love, but I still had a really, really good time with it. Okay, so we are following Navaya, who is an erotic writer, and she's struggling. Okay, she has lost her spark, and that is partly through a very awful situation that has happened to her. So her readers are calling her work stale and uninspired, and it's just really making her feel even worse, on top of going through this crappy breakup. She has a best friend named Xander, and they have been best friends since they were in the womb because their mothers are best friends. They grew up together, went to college together, all of these things. And so Xander is also having trouble with relationships, but his problem is that he puts Navaya before the women that he's actually dating. Like, sir. Anyway, so Navaya has this idea that she wants to get her inspiration back, find new inspiration in her life. And as an erotic writer, put the two pieces together. Yeah. And so she enlists Xander to help her with that because she feels safe with him, and, she knows that he won't be out here wild and doing crazy stuff. So she isn't exactly looking for a relationship, so that's why she feels like Xander can be that person for them. But then this brings up questions of, are we actually attracted to each other? And things start happening, and feelings start getting mixed in, and it becomes a friends to lovers situation. So yeah, my problem with this, and I think this is my problem with friends to lovers period, is that, like, how do you flip that switch in your head And not only that, but like people have been telling y'all for years that they can see that y'all are more than friends, but y'all have been denying it. But then all of a sudden y'all stop denying it and it flips a switch. And then Xander treating Nevaeh better than he's treating his girlfriends is just like crappy altogether. And there's just a lot of technicalities and things that I may be thinking too hard about, but mm, it's making me think y'all like each other all along. And y'all have just been lying to not only yourselves, but everybody else. You know? So 3.5 stars. I think it was just a trope, honestly, because Rilzy Adams is just, top tier for me. And a 3.5 isn't a bad rating. Moving on to my 4 stars of the month. I feel like I've been talking forever already. Goodness gracious. Okay. First 4-star we're going to talk about is My December Darling by Lauren Asher. And this was so cute. I was expecting to like this, but I just it really gave for me. Like it really did what I needed it to do. And we're following Catalina, who is back in, I was about to call it Dream Harbor, Lake Wisteria, because this is set in the same world as the Lakefront Billionaire series with Love Redesigned and Love Unwritten. And so Catalina's younger sister is marrying her ex-boyfriend, but they're fine with it because Catalina didn't really have a strong connection with him anyway. It's still weird, but yeah. And so Catalina has this attraction to the best man in the wedding, which is her ex's best friend named Luke Darling, aka Dr. Darling. And Luke also has an attraction to Catalina, but he's feeling some type of way about it because that's his best friend's ex. And so we're just following them as they, realize that it's okay for them to date each other, which I mean, her sister and her ex have absolutely nothing to say about the situation. Catalina can date whoever she wants to at this point because look at y'all. But anyway, and they're just really cute nerds and they're doing Legos together. And I just thought it was so cute. And we really watch Catalina work through feelings of inadequacy and feelings of being treated like a second-rate sibling. If you know, you know. And so yeah, Luke was such a cute love interest for me. I really felt for Catalina and the things that she was dealing with through this, and I just thought it was a fun time. It was fun, it was cute. And yeah, I am eating up anything that Lauren Asher puts out in this Lakefront Billionaire series. It's really working for me. And then we have Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Bashardoust. I don't know. But this was definitely a surprise for me. It's been on my TBR for an embarrassing amount of time, and I was like, look, it's time to do it. I can't go into another year without reading this book, and I am so happy that I did. In this, we follow Soraya, who is a princess, but she basically is tucked away in the castle because her touch is poisonous. And this is because her mother what her mother was cursed, and the curse was for her firstborn daughter, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so Soraya is kind of watching everyone live life around her, and she is not getting to be a part of it. She has to hide away. She can't even move through the castle regularly. She has to go through tunnels and wear gloves, all of these things. But she runs into a man, guy, boy, person. And he is not afraid of her. And, through a series of events, he kind of helps her, shows her who she really is, what really happened to her. And she also, aside from this boy, meets a demon in the dungeon that her brother, who is the king, captures. And so the three of them embark on this journey, and Soraya figures out who she wants to be, who she is, and stops being afraid of who she is and kind of makes that decision on her own. I think this was so good, and I didn't know at the time that it was based in Persian culture. So that was nice to, learn and read about as well. And this is a sapphic book. And I just thought it was so good. It was such a good surprise for me and something different, but not too, it's a different spin on something that we've seen before. I'll say it that way. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed my time with Girl Serpent Thorn, and it will be added to recommendation list because this is good. Okay, moving into the only 4.5 star that I had for December, and that is Christmas in Spite of You by Casey Mills. And look, I knew Casey Mills was gonna do it for me. Like, I had started picking her up, I think, last month, and I just could tell by her writing that she was gonna be one for me. And Christmas in Spite of You, it works for me. It really did. It was super cute. So in this, we're following Noelle, who is a struggling entrepreneur, and her friend convinces her to put up her apartment on this like shared spaces website because she's supposed to be going out of town to visit her family anyway. So why not let her apartment make her some money while she's gone? But Noelle gets sick and doesn't end up taking this trip, but she forgets to cancel the reservation. And so Canton shows up, and they are, they decide to cohabitate for the week. And Canton isn't really into Christmas, but Noelle, if you can't tell by her name, is very much a Christmas person. And it's also the first Christmas that she's spending without her family. And so, he allows her to do all of her Christmas shenanigans and even participates in it. And from jump, their chemistry is, yes, it's giving. And so this was super cute. I loved this. And we had to, of course, figure out how the relationship was going to work because Canton lives in New York and Noelle is in Atlanta. So, even though they liked each other, they were trying not to like each other because they didn't see a future, because neither one of them wanted to move. They each have, their businesses that they're trying to build and all the things. But this was just so cute, so sweet. I loved Canton and Noelle's chemistry. Their relationship felt like it was progressing in a realistic way. And, I liked them. Yeah. And Noelle's best friend, Simone, one of the best side characters ever. She was completely and wholly hilarious and added so much to the story for me. So, yeah, I had a great time with this. I lied that quick. I do have another 4-star. And look, we're not leaving her out because it took me a long time. I'm proud of this one, okay? And that is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. I can't leave out Gideon because if you know, Gideon has been very intimidating for me. I've been looking at this book for a long time, and I'm just so happy that not only did I pick it up, but I finished it. Okay? And look, I really enjoyed Gideon. It is as weird and confusing as people say, but what I also want to add to that is that it is very overly detailed. Like, Tamsyn Muir is going to tell you every detail that she possibly can, and sometimes it's hard to filter through, okay, what do I actually need to remember, what's important, and what is her just rambling on about what everything looks like and what's going on. So yes, Gideon is such a hilarious main character. I don't think I would have been able to finish this book if it wasn't for Gideon's personality and how much I just really loved her as a main character. And look, I'm gonna have to continue on because the way this ended, no, I need to know more. Because what do you mean it ended like this? Even though I guessed, there were some extra pieces in there that I did not guess, and I need to know. So I will be picking up the next book, Harrow, kind of soon because I don't want to forget. Because look, I don't know if Gideon is reread material for me anyway. So yeah, that's what I would say about that. Super proud that I made it through this. My favorite book of the month, my only 5-star, the book that I am now adding to the list of books that I'm going to scream, cry, yell, throw up over. And that is The Secret World of Maggie Gray by Granger. I saw this book on TikTok. Everybody was talking about it, and I had never even heard of it before, but I was like, I will not be left out. That's one thing I will not be. So what did I do? I went and read it. And Who knew that I was going to love this book as much as I did? And I think it's best that if you don't do a whole lot of research and you just go in with the synopsis, because the synopsis is like 3 sentences and it's basically telling you that a witch, a siren, and a vampire all go to this magical HBCU, and there's a talking cat named Quan, and that's all you need to know. There's some craziness that's going to go down. The lore and the world building of this is so rich. The interesting, what are they even called, creatures in this, you get more than just your regular vampire, werewolf, siren. Like, there's so many more creatures added into this, and plus it's like really black, like unapologetically black, and I loved that. Like, yes, yes. And it's chaotic and it's so fun. And also, I love that these are older main characters, like late 20s, early 30s type situation. Like, yes, give me people my age going to college. Like, I love that. I love it. Can I go? Like, sign me up for Drew Collins. Can somebody, how do I, Granger, sign me up for Drew Collins, okay? Because this is just a wild ride, and I'm so excited to jump into the second book. And I think the third book is coming out soon. I think January of 2025, something like that, soonish. So yeah, this definitely took me by surprise, but it's a combination of all the things that I love, and it ended on a massive cliffhanger. So I need to know, and I need to go back and be with my friends. And so I will be picking this up soon, because yeah, this was just believe the hype, because this is so good. So good. Can we talk about how I read 13 books this month? And these were the only physical books that I picked up. Yeah, I was struggling so hard to read physical books. It took me 2 weeks to get through Girl, Serpent, Thorn, and I don't even think it's 400 pages. Like, I was struggling to read physically for whatever reason, and I don't know why that is. Because look, my physical TBR is big. I need to read that down, and I can't read it down if I can't read these books. You know what I'm saying? Let us get into this December journal spread, and then we'll be back. Alrighty, friends, and that will conclude this December wrap up. Thank you so much for staying to the end of this video, for watching, subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing, all the things that you do to support me and my channel. It does not go unseen, and it is very, very, very much appreciated. And I hope that you have the best day that you possibly can, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.